Hi there, I just want to demonstrate how I make my Mexican beans, one of my most favorite recipes. And you know, beans are Mother Nature's superfood. So what I've got here are some pinto beans and some red beans, two of my favorite beans. And I've let them soak in water overnight, and now I've drained it. And I'm about to add some more water to it to cook. And I'll fill it like about an inch above, maybe 2 inches. Alright, now you can see I've got some crushed garlic, about 4 or 5 cloves, and I'm just going to add them in. Water has been added to the beans, and I've turned on the stove to maximum heat. Now I'm going to add about a tablespoon of cumin, about a tablespoon of red pepper flakes, maybe a tablespoon of pepper as well, or a teaspoon. Similar amount of salt. Okay, now I'm adding about half of a full-sized onion, chopped up. Okay, at this point we just want to boil our beans. So I've got it on maximum heat, and once they're boiling, I'm going to reduce to medium heat and cover with a lid for 40 minutes. Okay, so now you see that our beans are boiling, so it's time to turn down to medium heat right here. And whoops, getting foggy. I just want to add that in my use of spices, I usually use paprika, a tablespoon of paprika to start, but today I've used a similar Korean spice. It's a Korean red pepper flake. Gochugaru they call it actually in Korean. So normally I would use paprika. I just want to say that for record. And of course, now that we've reduced the heat, we're going to put on the lid and just let it simmer away for 40 minutes. But as the time wears down, be careful and check, make sure your beans are not burning on the bottom, and be careful with your nose and smell. Just make sure you're not burning on the bottom. You might have to add a bit of water. Now, as for spices, I want to say that what we've started with for spices is just the basic. Those are the basic spice ingredients. And as your beans, finish cooking, like I'll continue to let them simmer after 40 minutes till most of the water's gone. And then I'll start tasting. And from that point on, you just slowly add a little more spices in like maybe teaspoon increments until you get the perfect flavor that you want. A little more cumin, paprika, red pepper flakes, and salt and pepper until you nail it perfectly. Okay, so my 40-minute timer has gone up, so let's open up the pot lid and see what we got. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to grab a big spoon here so I can dig down to the bottom. And it's feeling pretty good. We still got a fair bit of water to boil away, but I'm going to give these little babies a taste. Okay, so right now these beans taste pretty bland, so I'm just going to start adding the same spices again, teaspoon at a time. And because the 40 minutes is up, I'm going to turn the heater, our heat down to a minimum until all the water is evaporated, and then we should be done in probably another 20 minutes, I guess. I just wanted to add that the reason I turn it down to minimum, because this is the point in which it's so easy to burn your beans on the bottom of the pot, and that's such a horrible pain because then you got to switch pots. It's not the end of the world. Usually you can just switch pots and leave the burnt stuff behind, but I hate doing that. Okay, so now I've pretty much doubled my spices from the original starting points, but this is quite a bit of beans. This is a lot of beans that I'm cooking with. Maybe it was about 4 cups to start with. So it's going to take a fair bit of spices to flavor it up. The most extreme word of caution here is to go very easy with salt. Very easy with salt. You don't want to oversalt your food ever, because that destroys it. So with salt, I would go no more than half a teaspoon at a time when you're adjusting the flavor. Okay, so the flavor of these beans is really good now. One of the things I like to do is to just mash up a little bit on the bottom. And because when they get mashed up, they turn into a wonderful sauce. So I'm just going to do a little bit of mashing here. Not that much. That's about enough. And that's probably good. Okay, so this is basically our finished product. Take a look at what it looks like. And this is really delicious. This is so delicious. For me, this replaces any kind of beef with my Mexican food. This tastes just as good, if not better. And you know, it's about 1,000 times healthier than greasy beef, right? Don't forget, overconsumption of meat is one of the leading causes of all sorts of diseases, right? So I highly recommend you get into eating beans like this. I'm going to include a link down below for my recipe for salsa, which I think is the most delicious food on the planet, actually. I absolutely love it, and it's so easy to make. So anyways, bon appetit. I hope you've enjoyed this little Mexican beans lesson. And take care. Oh, actually, I just want to add one last thing that... So often I'll take this and I will put this into my burritos, or if I make corn tacos, the old hard shell tacos for my boys, or for myself, I'll put this stuff in instead of the meat. And often it's great if you're having some kind of, you know, Mexican salad, lettuce and the beans and whatever else you want to add. It's just a very healthy and filling type of meal. All right. Hope you had fun. Take care.